can I ask for you guys, right? Out of those three, which one is your favorite Robert Eggers movie?
The Lighthouse to me is fantastic, and I will watch the other two soon so that I can compare and pick out of the three.
I liked The Northman. I really
Hmm.
liked it. Um, I'd have to watch The Witch again. I watched it with my friend. It was creepy.
We're all going to discuss The Substance.
Some women will do anything to relive their youth, to grasp for beauty, to not age, because age in our society is horrible. It's the worst thing a woman could do.
Demi Moore, give me more Demi Moore. She was amazing. And for
She
her being
is so good.
62,
She looks
62 years
so
old,
amazing.
yeah, 62 years old, she looked gorgeous, amazing. I would love for her to be in more roles moving forward. She was a powerhouse. We're gonna go over each of our top five movies. Like Vigo told John Wick, it made him an impossible task.
As far as my top five films go, and this is, by the way, in no particular order. These are movies that I love and I can rewatch over and over again. The first one starting with
Welcome to the Cinema Subway, where we ride the rails through the best and sometimes the worst that movie and TV have to offer. I am one of your hosts, Los, and I'm also doing this with a couple of friends from New York City that are very passionate about movies and TV. Let them introduce themselves.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy A Cash, and I'm glad to be part of this experience. I love movies, and I hope to keep doing this, keep talking movies with y'all and TV.
Hi everyone, I'm Gab. Love to be here. Super excited. I'm super excited to be with my coworkers, my friends, to talk about anything and everything about movies.
And also behind the scenes is Molly Mall, who is our producer and director and is the idea man to bring us all together to produce this video podcast. So the goal of each episode, we'll be picking a theme, a director, or a genre, and we're gonna dive into these films and TV that define it. Akash, do we have a topic for today's first episode?
We do actually. Let's see. So we were thinking about, because we all just recently seen The Substance, so we're all going to discuss The Substance. We also like to discuss the Terrifier series popularity. I think that's been something that's grown in the last couple of years, and I'd like to touch base on that a little bit as well.
Sounds great.
Also, we got Nosferatu coming out. I know for a fact we've all been looking forward to that, and they just got some banger reviews, well, early reviews that dropped. So I think that'll be fun. And I got a couple other things in there we might just drop in. But let's see where it takes us today, man. Let's see where the train just takes us.
Okay, so first off, we're talking on the substance.
Yeah. First off, we can talk about the substance. I'd like that.
I would love to hear Gabby's point of view on this movie
All right,
because
so
you will speak for the women because I feel this is a very women driven movie.
definitely was. I actually had to look up the director because I thought it was a man because of the amount of boobs in this movie. Um, I thought it was a very interesting movie. It was definitely the message was women, or some women, will do anything to relive their youth, to grasp for beauty, to not age, because age in our society is horrible. It's the worst thing a woman could do. So I think it was great that that's what society sees, or that's what society is. I also love that it was always a group of old white men with, like, the way that they always close up on, Dennis Quaid, and, like, they made him, like, so disgusting. But that was his character. He was just, like, a greedy, hungry executive who whatever he said went. So, like, that you had to listen to him. Um, so I think the message of the movie was clear that she's grasping for beauty, she wants to relive her youth, and that the perfect form is this young, dumb woman is played by Margaret Qualley, who was great. Also, I didn't know that the prosthetics in this movie were great. Did you know that her boobs are fake? It was prosthetics. Those weren't her
Wow.
actual that wasn't her chest,
Wow.
which I mean,
Wow.
but it was like the prosthetics were really good. But again, the message was, yes, that women will do anything. They're gonna grasp for beauty, and then, like, it turns into something like that's the worst thing a woman can do is age, but, like, you see the worst thing that a woman can do is that she's literally battling herself for, I guess, to live her life how she wants to. Like, Demi Moore, like, when they would switch, Demi Moore would be so afraid to go out that she would binge eat and do nothing at home because she didn't wanna go out because she was scared of how she looked. Whereas the other one was literally using her body, using Demi Moore's body to go and live her life. So, like, she needed that energy, she needed the nutrients of Demi Moore to go and be the best she could be, but, like, the best she could be was just some it was just tits and legs, that's what she was. So I
Right.
think that was a pretty clear message.
Yeah, you did mention the special effects. I do have to give props to Oliver Person and his company Top FX, who actually created the effects for this movie. It took him over a year. To
Wow.
me, probably some of the best special effects, practical effects I've seen in a movie in the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, I'm glad that I got your point of view on that because I had a completely different experience watching it. I disliked Demi Moore as the woman she was playing. I couldn't feel sorry for her at all
Mm,
because I understand the topics of ageism, especially in Hollywood, and I understand women or the difficulty of getting older. But it was tough for me to accept that this woman who was uber successful and had a lap of luxury to go back to, the only thing I feel like she was really fighting was loneliness,
mm,
that she didn't have the company. Maybe she kind of exiled herself from having people close to her. But to take it to that extreme where you're taking an experimental drug that you don't know what the effects are going to be because you got fired from a position. I couldn't connect the dots for me on that part. So it was, but Demi Moore, give me more Demi Moore. She was amazing. And for her
it
being
was so good.
62,
She looked
62 years
so
old,
amazing.
yeah, 62 years old, she looked gorgeous, amazing. And I would love for her to be in more roles moving forward. She was a powerhouse. And I did like her
Mm.
co-star, what was her name? Margaret Qualley?
Yeah.
Margaret Qualley. Yep. Yep.
Right. She was awesome too. Great. Yeah, but I also agree with you. The superhero super strength where she
Oh, yeah.
gladiator kicked her across the room. I'm like,
So
geez.
that whole fight scene was too much. I think fight scenes in general when I get if someone gets like if I got stabbed in the leg, I'd be down for the count. Like don't make them just like run around with a knife in your calf. You're not moving that leg. And I
Right.
think that's I know movies can't do that, but it's just not realistic. I know nothing in this movie was realistic, but
Right.
it
Yeah.
was just it took me out of it when she literally like, yeah, she kicked her across the room. Like, no, why? Why did she have to have superhuman strength now? I know she was a fitness instructor, but but no one's doing that.
Yeah, that was a little intense.
Too much.
Josh, what do you think about it?
Um, I I absolutely love the movie. I had to sit down for a while and think about if there was any negatives, which Gabby did actually bring out of me.
Right.
Because at first I was just gonna go in and be like, "Oh, I love this movie to death. I don't. Think it's a flawless movie." But no, I do have my gripes with it. But I do want to start with my positive first. Number one, as you guys have mentioned, I think Demi Moore absolutely kills it in this movie. She is fan freaking tastic in this film. It's been a while since I've seen anything of her, but man, what a performance! She just comes in and she knocks it out the park. Now, my I also do have to give a shout out to Margaret Qualley. who I think has been kind of on the up and coming rise in the last couple of years. My first film I saw her in, I think, was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the movie Tarantino made a couple of years ago, and I thought she was great in that, but I hadn't really seen much of her ever since. But I do know she's on the rise, and I think this movie just absolutely solidifies her name up there as well. I do hope that Demi Moore does get a nomination for this movie. I think she absolutely rocks. I also do love a lot of the imagery and a lot of the reference the director makes to other works and other directors, such as Cronenberg. There's a lot of Aronofsky references in there. There's a lot of Kubrick references in there. David Fincher. I think she does a good job of pulling from those guys and incorporating a lot of the imagery in this movie. I was also surprised at Dennis Quaid because I didn't know that he was going to be in this movie. But yeah, he absolutely plays such a dirtbag in this film. Um, and I don't know if you guys know, but interestingly enough, right? I guess I don't know if it's official. Nobody said it was official, but his name is Harvey in the film, and it's I guess it's a little naughty
Oh,
nod.
it's like not Harvey.
Yeah. They never
Mm,
said the last name, but he's like the scumbag in like Hollywood. So yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I also
yeah.
do think that this movie, however, does go on for quite a bit. They could have maybe shaved off, I believe, 20 minutes would have done. I think there are certain things that does become a little repetitive in the film after a while. It does become a little overindulgent at times as well. And as it's not it's not a gripe, but it's just something I couldn't connect to. I'd have to agree with Carlos. Well, I didn't hate her character. I just couldn't connect with whatever she was going through. I didn't. I couldn't relate to
I
ageism
think
or
point,
the
yeah.
chase
There's
for
a
youth.
point when you're just like, she's done enough. You know she's gone
Yeah,
overboard. But like she could say no when she gets the phone call and they're like, "Do you
yeah,
want it to stop?" She says no. She wants to continue. So that's
yeah.
definitely on her.
But I actually do love the prosthetics a lot. I think this has been one of the most absurdly entertaining and grotesque movie I've seen in a while, especially in the last 30 minutes of this movie. It just goes absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I do hope that when comes Oscar season, they at least get nominated for Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, and I hope makeup is in there as well because man, oh man,
Yeah.
the makeup in this movie was incredible.
Yeah. They used 36,000 gallons of blood for that one scene.
Oh,
It's a
Are you
lot of
serious?
sheesh.
Yeah, 36,000 gallons. I mean, they must have had like a fire hose attached to a
It
tub of
was.
it.
It was. It was a
What?
fire hose.
Yeah, that was an intense scene. I thought nothing was gonna top Carrie, but this one did it.
It was pretty
I
gross.
I didn't think anything was gonna top Terrifier, man.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it tops Terrifier, but it gets pretty damn close in the level of grotesqueness that's
Yeah,
on
yeah.
display there.
I definitely think they're two separate types of gore.
Yeah,
And this one was a body horror, self-inflicted mutilation kind of horror, whereas Terrifier is more victim
yeah,
horror, if that's a term.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I ended up loving this movie, man.
Mhm.
This might be my favorite film of the year so far. So far. I don't know
Mm.
about you guys, but yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
talking yesterday, and it was really hard to get Akash to say anything bad about it. I was like, "Come on, Akash, you gotta say something. There's gotta be something wrong with this movie." He was like,
yeah,
"No, nothing,
yeah.
nothing so bad."
As a monster movie, I give it like a 10 out of 10. But as a movie trying to express a message, I think it failed, which kind of brought it down for me.
Mhm,
And I'm speaking on specifically the theory of it's actually a feminist theory, which I read a little bit about because I had to kind of fill in what I didn't get from the movie, and it's a
Yeah.
feminist theory called the male gaze. And the
Oh,
male gaze, it's a theory that describes how visual media, such as film and television and literature, objectifies women and presents them from a heterosexual male perspective. So, as being the male and my perspective, where I was looking at it objectively, and I'm looking at the beauty and the horror. There was never a time where I wasn't just locked in. There was a little bit too much nakedness, which didn't need it. But as a man, it did catch my eye. It was one of those things like, wow, there's a lot of breasts in this movie, and a lot of butt showing, And as a man, you're like, oh, okay, but the grotesque part of it, I guess, which is supposed to turn the man off, I found it more intriguing than the naked woman because I'm a fan of horror. So I'm just in awe of the mutation that she's going through, and I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen. Like if I had to rewatch that movie, I'm going straight to the last 30 minutes of that movie. I don't need to watch the first half, but it's
something's wrong with
interesting.
her. You're
Yeah,
sick.
yeah, yeah, it is. But I do get the message the director was trying to tell the audience, and I appreciated it for it. It definitely opened up my eyes to especially struggles like beauty, and not just in like a Hollywood, but even anywhere where a woman has to deal with growing old, or dealing with like magazines pushing unrealistic beauty standards. So I appreciate what that movie subject matter did kind of get across or convey to me as the audience.
Can I just add that I found something you just said interesting, right? Where you said for you personally, you could skip the rest of the movie and go on to the last 30 minutes. I actually felt the opposite for me, where I thought the last 30 minutes was great, but I appreciated a lot more of what the rest of the movie offered rather than I'd say, going for just a generic monster film towards the latter half. I appreciated everything that she's going through. Even though I couldn't relate to it, I appreciated the struggles she was facing, and just watching her downfall, it just made for a more interesting movie for me rather than the last 30 minutes. So, it's interesting that you said that.
Gabby, what do you think? Did you like the
Um,
whole movie as a whole, or?
so I agree it was too long. I think I paused it at like an hour and 20, and there was still an hour left, and I was like, how is this long? Like, what else could happen? Um, I would probably, yeah, I'm not one for horror. I think the prosthetics were great, but I probably would skip over that. I think it's more about the message. You're talking about something that you can't relate to. Did you guys notice that when they were recording her exercise tape, it was all men. It
Yeah,
was all men
Yeah,
behind cameras. And then when at the end, when she's gonna do her New Year's Eve thing, it's Dennis Quaid and all
yeah,
white men.
all those
And they're like,
perverts.
and then it was all perverts. And then they said the only thing a woman can do is smile. Like the best thing a woman can do is smile. And
Yeah,
then the next scene is her teeth falling out.
right.
So it's like it's that play on it is the male gaze, but it's her transformation of being used, or like yes, she did make money, but like she was kind of thrown out at a specific age. So she tries to relive the youth and like bring back that image of young and beautiful. But then the monster at the end is who she really is inside because of what she's done to try and like protect that. So they eventually see the monster inside, and it is a horror show. Like the
Yeah,
last 30 minutes is a horror show.
yeah, it
Um,
really is.
it was disgusting. But the
And
movie
it's
as a
awesome.
whole, and also, it was I think the ending is definitely necessary. I think it went on for too long. You said how many gallons of blood?
36,000 gallons.
I I I get the point of the movie. I think the point was driven home very well for me as a woman. It is about the male gaze, or like it's just it's not about the male gaze. It's what we have put on ourselves to think it's about the male gaze. Um, but the ending, it was just gore to be gory. I think they could have
Gabby,
just cut down that a little bit. Yeah.
so I don't know if you noticed, right? But interestingly, um, you know, it in your dreams, the loss of teeth, right, actually
Yeah.
represents a lot of things. It represents like death, it represents like insecurity, stress, like renewal, unfinished
Huh.
business, and poor self care. So I thought it was interesting that you picked up on that. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah,
I do know that. I feel like if
yeah,
dreams, there's all your teeth fall out. I've had that.
yep,
But
yep,
it's
yep,
just yeah, she was super stressed, but she was stressed because obviously she shouldn't have been there. She
yeah.
was stealing all of Demi Moore's nutrients and she knew it. So she knew she was gonna literally disintegrate. So that was another
Yeah.
grasp for beauty. The one who was beautiful grasped for more beauty and then turned into a
Yeah.
monster. So
Yeah,
What?
I for one will be watching this movie again, and
Mhm.
definitely watching it with people who haven't seen it, so I can see their reaction.
Yeah,
And maybe on a second viewing, I'll get a different perspective, especially now after we discussed it together as a group.
yeah.
mm,
So yeah, I will definitely tell our audience it's a must see for me. It's definitely an express type of movie. Go see it.
It's it's an express movie for me as well. I'd say the same. Go see it.
I would only tell like specific people. Like I'd tell other cinephiles to watch this. Like my normal, I don't know, people who are grossed out. I don't know if I would recommend this movie.
Let me
I
pose
feel
a question. Let me pose a question. How, as an individual, knowing this, that how desperate would you ever get to take an experimental drug to offer you a desire or hope, but not
none.
knowing that, not knowing, well, there is circumstances, right? But the rules weren't followed, and that's
Right.
where the circumstances started happening. Would you do something like that if you follow the rules and take the chance?
You know what I thought of? I thought of it actually like the 7 days on and 7 days off. I thought about like going on vacation and I'm like, I can't do that. You have to have the body near you. Like I
Yeah.
feel like my mind is always like vacation geared. So I'm like, I can't have she becomes a not a liability, but like she becomes a responsibility that I
Mm.
have to
Yeah,
be home to take my nutrients from this body. I can't go on vacation. I don't I don't want to do that. I can't be tied down.
How about
But
you,
so no.
Okai?
oh
So
man,
my answer is no, I wouldn't do that.
I couldn't do it. Like Abby was saying, it feels much more of a responsibility having to upkeep this this lifestyle, having to constantly go back and switch. What are you really gonna be doing if you decide to, let's say, like Gabby
Yeah,
was saying, go on
that's right.
vacation? You're gonna put this thing in your suitcase and lug it halfway across the world with you just so you can switch back? No, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you
What
guys. I
about you,
wouldn't
Carl?
take. Nah,
Here, yeah,
I
here's
wouldn't.
another point.
Look. I wouldn't take it. I'm not even willing to fly to Turkey to get hair implants. All right. I think that's too risky. I think plastic surgery is risky. I'm not gonna inject myself with some mystery liquid that's gonna clone me. No thanks. What?
Totally off
So,
topic, but I actually saw earlier that there was an article about a woman who flew to Turkey to get a butt lift, and the doctor walked out halfway
oh
during the butt
man.
lift, and she died. Rest in peace to her.
Oh
Yeah.
damn.
Wait, why did he leave?
I don't know. I actually did not read further into the article, but when I do, I will let you guys know.
What do you mean he left? That's crazy.
Hey
That is
guys, it's time
crazy.
for my break.
Wait, can I bring up another point in this movie? She had
Yeah,
7 days to make, like, a secret wall in the bathroom. How? Who's doing that?
Yeah, yeah, like
She
she
just
knew
oh,
how
or
to.
became, like, a
Yeah,
carpenter. She's a
yeah,
yeah,
she
contractor
had.
now.
Yeah, she had knowledge of a contractor. Like that's amazing. You know.
She's superhuman.
Yeah, doing Spartan kicks on people. That's nuts.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I love the movie. It does have some flaws which I really had to think about, but it's right now one of my favorite movies of the year, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be beaten because there's one more movie that I'm looking forward to that I know for a fact it's going to be on top there.
What's that?
It's
Mhm.
Nosferatu, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. The
Uh,
the question, the best holiday movie for. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but it recently got some screenings, and some of the reactions have been amazing to this
yeah,
movie. Um, see if we can Molly Mall. Can you pull that up for us, please?
yeah. I'm hearing the same thing. I'm hearing great reviews, early screening reviews, amazing. One of his best films to date,
Yeah.
which is saying a lot because he has a lot of great films under his belt.
Yeah, he
You know,
does, and I'm actually really excited for this movie.
all these reviews are fantastic. I mean, of course, people are saying it's masterful, it's dark, it's gory, but somebody said, and this is probably my favorite one-word review for this movie. It's the horniest film they've seen all year.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this movie, man. I think Robert Eggers is an amazing director. He's right now he's 3 for 3 with The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman, and I can definitely see this as being his fourth movie. And I've said this already, but if he does what I hope he does and fire on all cylinders on in this movie, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that he's one of my favorite directors working today, possibly ever. And I know that's that's high praises, but
Yeah,
he's a fantastic
that's saying a lot, man.
Yeah, that
he's
is.
fantastic, man.
Yeah.
But
I
but I do
you
agree that,
know
yeah, his last 3 movies have been great. And the comment, "It's the horniest movie," is it gonna be like did you guys see was it Bram Stoker's Dracula? Like, is that
yes.
how Nosferatu is?
No,
Well,
that's not
yeah,
Nosferatu. That's it's
Yeah, it's
funny.
Dracula.
I just saw that movie a few weeks ago for the first time.
But is
fantastic,
Nosferatu
right?
like Dracula? Like,
No.
what's horny about what's who's I now I need to watch it. That's such a weird comment.
Yeah, it
Exactly.
is.
I but it's got my attention.
That's such an odd comment, but okay.
But
'Cause they
Carlos, you
that's what
said
I
you
think of Bram Stoker's was like that, where it was like, what's her
yeah.
name? Winona Ryder and him were like yeah, like, but that was his love. But is that what Nosferatu's doing? Is he I know he's not Dracula. Alright,
Yeah.
now I'm intrigued. Now I'm even more intrigued.
Yeah,
Great.
so I'm reading that he is Dracula pretty much. They just changed his name throughout different literature.
Okay.
Yeah, so he is
Alright.
the Dracula, yeah.
Interesting. I'm excited. I
Yeah,
do
it's
like
a
Yeah,
horror.
I
it's
am
a
too.
it's an archaic Romanian word for the offensive one.
Oh,
Nesuferitu. Yeah. So,
wow.
Nice.
but
Learning
speaking
something new.
yeah, but speaking of offensive, I had shown Akash this the other day and Instagram that they're making a Nosferatu cologne. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah,
It's all that macabre. Macabre? How you say
macabre,
that?
macabre. I
Macabre.
think it's macabre.
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 Yeah.
So it makes you smell like him. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, Akash.
Oh,
I mean,
man,
it
I'm
is
just
if
gonna
it's
have
a
to try
horror
it out.
movie, I think you should try it out. Yeah, see what happens.
Man, maybe you'll start sucking blood.
I don't know, Dracula's kind of a player. He probably
Yeah.
smells good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Definitely not like death. Definitely not. Or a coffin. He definitely doesn't smell like that.
Speaking of coffin, right? Did you guys see that? Edgar's has been doing promotional work for the movie in the last couple of days, so they've put like an actual coffin in some movie theaters
Yeah.
around the states. Have you heard about this? I know Carlos is the one that sent me the article, but have you
No, I
heard or
haven't
seen this,
heard that.
Gabby?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a
No.
couple of theaters that are doing it. See, can pull this up
So
right now.
there's coffins, like, in the lobby of theaters?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
So
I mean, that's pretty effective. I wanna see this movie without hearing all these things, and now I wanna see it more.
so if you want to see it in like in New York or anything, right? Alamo Drafthouse in Brooklyn has one, and AMC Lincoln Square in the city has one.
That's a legit coffin too, that's cool.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think I read that it weighs like 500 pounds or something.
Jeez.
It looks like
Yeah.
it does, it looks legit. That's a legit coffin, that's definitely where Nosferatu sleeps.
Yep.
But I'm so looking forward to this movie. I think it's gonna deliver on all cylinders. And Robert Eggers, he hasn't given me anything to doubt his craftsmanship. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, guys.
A little blasphemous for me dropping on Christmas, but
Gotta change it up every now and then,
yeah.
man.
They're even I just saw that they're even potentially making a Nosferatu coffin popcorn bucket.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Man, their
And actually
marketing, very good
yeah, yeah,
marketing.
very good marketing, Popcorn buckets, perfumes, you know?
Look,
I'm very
mhm.
curious about that
And
perfume, about that.
I think
Is
I
it a
hate
cologne?
this is the first time that he's really making merchandise for his movie. Any other previous
yeah.
movie, he never really, it just
That's
stood on its
true.
own merit. So this is the first time. It's interesting. I'm pretty
Well, I
sure Nosferatu will be a popular Halloween costume come next year.
next thing. Well, it's interesting because I feel like the way Edgar's has risen in popularity in the last couple of years, especially with The Lighthouse and especially with The Northman and even The Witch, this guy could have just dropped like a 2-second teaser and people will still would be excited. I think he's got that he's got that pull, you know?
He definitely does.
Yeah, he does. He has those are 3, like, powerhouse movies now. They have a good following. I think
Mhm.
he has the time
Can
and he
I
has the
ask
money to do it.
for you guys, right? Out of those 3, which one is your favorite Robert Eggers movie?
Mm.
Yeah, I can't really say because I only watched one of the three.
Mm,
The
okay, okay.
Lighthouse to me is fantastic.
Yep. Okay. All right.
So, and I will watch the other two soon so that I can compare and pick out of the three.
I think I'm gonna say The Lighthouse too, and I liked The Northman. I really
Mhm.
liked it. Um, I'd have to watch The Witch again. I watched it with my friend. It was creepy. The Witch was also really it was great though. It was something different, I think, at the time. Um, but I'm still gonna say The Lighthouse just because of how strange it was,
Yeah.
but how it was Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, they were just so good in that movie, and, like, the
Fantastic.
entire time, it's like, "What is happening?" But they both do such a great job, and Willem Dafoe's, his dialogue in that movie is so good that you
Yeah.
just, like he pulls you in, and it's just I really like The Lighthouse. Another movie, though, that I would not recommend to certain people 'cause it
Yeah.
will either go over your head, it's very strange, it's not a that's a specific audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
mainstream at all.
No, definitely not,
Yeah,
but still a great
not
movie.
mainstream. Yeah. So since we've been speaking about horror, I like to say that we lost a horror icon 6 days ago in Tony Todd.
Yes. Oh my god.
Who
Yep.
we all know played Candyman.
Right.
He
Yep.
also he also played one of my favorite characters in The Crow. He was Grange. He was the henchman to the
That's
villain.
right, he was in The Crow.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's sad that he died. To me, at a young age, 69 years old is feels young.
Yeah,
So rest
yep,
in peace to Tony Todd, and condolences to all his family and fans that are going through it
yep,
right now.
yep, and
Yeah.
my condolences as well. He's certainly built a repertoire of horror films for himself. I mean, you mentioned Candyman, which I personally like. Then he was also in, I believe he was in all the Final
Yeah.
Destination movies
Yeah.
as the mortician. Interestingly enough, some people had also theorized over the years that he might have been actually deaf, physically
Oh,
manifested in those movies,
Yeah. I do
which I
like that
find
theory.
is cool.
very
Yeah.
cool. Did not hear that.
Um, yeah, yeah, and he also was in the Sony Spider-Man games.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I think one game, if I'm not mistaken, which was Spider-Man 2 as Venom.
Yeah, he's successful voice actor as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
cool.
So rest in peace to Tony Todd.
Yeah, rest in peace, Tony
Yeah,
Todd.
of
Mhm.
course.
Yep.
I really, yeah. Rest in peace.
Okay, so now that we're kind of speaking on um some horror films, and Halloween just recently passed, I also do want to kind of like touch base about another popular horror franchise in recent memory, and that's the Terrifier films. Now, Carlos, I know you've seen it because you put me onto this movie about a month ago. I know Gabby hasn't seen it yet, but I do find it very interesting that this movie, up about until a couple years ago, has been a relatively indie film, a relatively unknown film with a micro budget even. I think the first movie was made on a $35,000 budget,
Mhm.
but skip to 2024, Terrifier 3 comes out, and this movie is massive, man. I mean, it's just blown up so much in the last couple years. Especially with like the art, the clown memes and whatnot. What do you think has skyrocketed this movie into being one of the most popular horror franchises right now? Even going as far as beating out a mega budget DC Comics film in its I believe second weekend, which I think is an impressive feat. What do you think makes this movie such a popular franchise right now?
I think I attribute it to two things. Definitely what you had mentioned in the viral
Mhm,
memes, uh, that ended up making his merchandise. They were selling his costume, his animatronic figure at Spirit Halloween. It was sold out. It was one of the more popular costumes this year. Everybody wanted to be Art the Clown. But second, it's the director, the creator, Damien Leone. He stuck to his
mhm.
guns. He had a
Yeah,
vision for this character when he was selling it around to do sequel number two and number three, where he could have gotten a much bigger budget to do a much bigger film. He wasn't willing to give control or give away any of his vision. And that right there, in his purest form of art, the clown is why it's been so successful. He knows what he wants from this character, and he showcases it in every movie. I
yeah,
know, Gabby,
yeah.
you haven't seen these movies yet.
I have not, but the director's actually from Staten Island. So
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's
my
cool.
only
That's
claim. That's
cool.
my only thing that I know about this movie. No, I
You
do
gotta you
know
gotta watch to represent.
I, I do have to watch it. It's just usually I've the reviews of everyone like walking out or throwing up, but it's not something that I'm drawn to.
Yeah.
I do like the prosthetics. I do like the realistic prosthetics. Um, and all those effects. I think if they're done really well, like they look super realistic, I think that's great. I
Mm.
should watch it. I probably it's obviously on my list. Um, but it's just getting over it's getting
Well, I
over the
mean,
fact that it like looks so real that I
yeah,
can't distinguish the real from the fake, and I don't it's not something I'm
yeah.
drawn to.
The
So,
first the first two films, Damien Leone was the special effects supervisor. So
okay.
he was wearing many hats in those first two movies. The third movie, sorry, went to Atmos Effect. That's headed by Pete Reigart, who worked on the effects for Part Three, which allowed Damien to focus more on the writing and the directing. My say on the movie is it's not necessarily something I would recommend to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely no kid under 18 should be seeing this movie at all. There is no excuse to bring a kid to see this movie. That is irresponsible parenting. I know a couple people who did that, who took their kids, and I'm left in. I'm more shocked that they did that than anything. There was no reason to bring these kids to these movies. Second, the violence on women in this movie is a little it's extreme. You know, it makes you think, does Damien hate women? You know, they Art the Clown tends to pick on the first movie. He really does a number on the kills and on women. And they really, I felt like they really suffered the most in the first movie. I mean, he's an equal opportunity killer in all the movies, but I always feel that there's an extra emphasis on like, why are you going so hard on the kills when when it's a woman as the victim? So I've tried hard to let my wife watch it, and she will not watch it. Even just describing the movie to her, she is disgusted by it. So not something I recommend. Again, definitely not a mainstream type of movie. It's a specific audience that will understand, this sick, twisted vision of this, this new modern horror icon in Art the Clown.
So I've definitely I don't care about spoilers, so some of the scenes have been described to me, and I sound like I agree with your wife. If you describe it to me and I'm like disgusted, why would I need to see it with my own eyes? Um, but you also brought up a good point for the last movie for Terrifier 3, where it's like when it becomes something that could be it would be people who are obviously mentally unwell who like want to recreate or like take examples from a movie that's just a movie, but they like can bring it over to real life. That's when it becomes a problem. So like
Yeah,
it's between the
Mm,
art and real life. Um, when that line kind of becomes blurred, that's
yeah,
when I'm like, okay, I don't need to watch this movie. But
yeah,
I kind of do now as a cinephile, now as
yeah.
someone who wants to critique movies. I think this is a movie I need to watch.
I mean, to me, I feel like he uses the gory kills to drive the story forward instead
yeah.
of the other way around, where I've seen many films use gore, but in the right context, enough where it still can shock the audience, but it's narrative driven. You can still tell a story without having to resort to such gory showcases of deaths on a movie. So, but I agree with you, Gabby, that this could easily make someone be a copycat, give them ideas, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I do have to say that while Damien Leon does seem like he does pick on women in in these movies, I do have to say he does also craft them very well as well. I mean, you have such a fantastic heroine in Sienna Shaw. She's literally one of my favorite final girls in recent memory, and I think just as much as he's spent time crafting Art the Clown, who has become such a popular character, I think he spent just as time enough time with Sienna Shaw too, who I think in a few years will definitely become one of the most memorable characters from this franchise. And she's she's so good in the film, in both films, especially in the third movie. The things that she has to go to, the things that she goes through, it's it adds a lot of element of substance in this film, which I wasn't expecting from a slasher film.
Yeah, I agree. Sienna Shaw, great heroine, amazing. So I don't know. I mean, Gabby, I don't know if it's something I recommend you watching. If I do have to rate the movie, I'm a horror fan, so I might, but I'm thinking of general audience. I want to be fair to our viewers. I would say this is a off the rails. I feel that it's not for everybody. I feel that Damien Leone didn't see himself getting this far with this movie. He just happened to hit everything lined up for him, all the sun, moon, and stars. it went viral on the memes. He was getting the green light to create another movie, but it feels like he just keeps adding to the story where that wasn't probably the intention early on. So it seems like a little disjointed for me, and I'm still left thinking, well, this doesn't make any sense. But why is this happening now? So for me, like I said, I might give it a personal higher score, but for our viewers, definitely off the rails. I don't recommend watching this movie. If you have a strong stomach and you like horror and it's your thing, then by all means watch it. But the rest of you, off the rails, stay away.
You know what? I'm gonna stick to my guns and give it an express rating. I would personally recommend it to my friends and maybe even like family members who are of age to watch this film. I think the Terrifier series has got it's grown. It's matured a lot. You know, the first film was just for me, it was a very I hate to use the word pointless, but it felt like a very pointless hack and slash film where you're only watching this guy, you know, kill his victims in very brutal ways. Where I think the second film definitely grows up a little bit. It adds a little more story, it adds more character. And then the third film, I think the third film was absolutely made with a lot of thought in mind as far as story and characters in mind. And that again, that goes to Damian Leone, who stepped back from a lot of the duties and focused a lot more on the director aspect and the writer and story aspect of this whole thing. I I definitely recommend it. I think very it's a grotesque, it's a very brutal slasher movie, but I think it's one that you can have fun with.
Mm, that's an interesting take.
Yeah.
You're a sick, sick man.
All right, so you guys are split. I guess I have to watch it. I'll be the deciding factor.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll be the
be the
deciding factor.
tiebreaker.
Be the
Yep.
But
tiebreaker.
I have a feeling you're gonna lean with my opinion. But let's see. How about this? Just watch the first one and see,
Yeah.
see
The
how
one where he really hates women? Sure, I'll watch that one.
you can
Great.
even watch you can watch the early Art the Clown, All Hallows Eve, which is one of the first movies he was showcased in, the origin. So
Right.
he's not in
Another
the whole
movie?
movie. It's another
Oh,
horror movie. Yeah. Um, yeah, give it a watch and let me know what you think.
all right.
Yeah.
I will. It's on my list. I'll watch it. I'll watch the first one.
Yep.
Mm.
Ugh, I'm
So,
not ready. I'll
Yeah.
watch it.
I kind of want to talk about something that's popped up recently. Uh, so Nolan is actually in the process of casting his new film. There's been a lot of speculation about what the film is about. Most people are saying it's a film that's set in the 1920s about vampires, but Nolan hasn't officially came out and said anything as of yet. But I do think the casting in this movie is interesting, and I want to know what you guys think. Okay, about a month ago, he announced that Matt Damon and Tom Holland was going to be in the film, but the last week or two, he also announced that Zendaya and Hathaway and Lupita Nyong'o is also going to be in the movie, which I think is a very, very solid cast. I'd like to hear what you guys think of it.
Hmm. I mean, I like the cast. Interesting choices.
Yeah, I think I'll watch anything with
Mm.
Tom Holland and Zendaya.
Mhm.
They're a cute couple, so I think that's a nice draw for people who don't care about Nolan.
Yeah, yeah. But again, I think Nolan is one of those directors where he could make just about anything and people will flock to the movie
Yeah.
theaters and go see it, you know? Like case in point, Oppenheimer last year. That movie was a 3-hour drama about Robert J. Oppenheimer, if that's his I think that's his correct name. And the movie was in my opinion, it was a great movie, but it's not a movie I'd watch again. It was just so long and so drawn out. There was a lot of scenes of people just in rooms speaking, things that go way above my head, as far as science goes. Um, which, is pretty normal for a Nolan film, but this one just kind of like emphasized the science a little more, and I just it was I'm gonna be honest, it kinda bored me a little bit. But that's movie still made $1 billion, you know?
That much? Wow.
Yeah, well, close to 1 billion
I'm pretty
actually.
sure we all watched it for the nuclear explosion, let's just be honest. That's why everyone watched that movie, and the explosion was cool, but yes, it was 3 hours of people talking about science that not a lot of people understand, and it was drawn out, and I think there was I don't know why I don't know, I guess I have a problem with nudity. I think there's a difference between unnecessary nudity and necessary nudity,
Yeah,
something that, like, makes sense, and I
mhm,
think that had unnecessary nudity. So, it was
Right.
just I don't know, there's some scenes that, like, took me out of the movie, and then some scenes that are like, "Okay, it's good." I agree that it was way too long, but if you're talking about a Nolan movie that I wouldn't recommend and didn't make sense and went right over my head was Tenet. Tenet was awful,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Tenet was
Yeah,
so bad,
not a
yeah,
huge fan of that movie either.
yeah, I don't know,
and
I
I think a
just
good topic to talk about would be stacked movies that were bad. They weren't good,
yeah,
and you can have the greatest cast, but if the movie and the screenplay isn't good, it's still a trash movie.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, good action scenes, but overall, I didn't. I was confused. I didn't like it too much.
Action scenes made no sense in Tenet. Things are
Yeah,
going backwards, but you're going forward, like,
yeah,
okay, this still does like, it's cool for maybe, like, 5 minutes, and then you're like, "Alright, that's what we're doing? Alright." Then we have 2 hours, 2.5 hours of that. So, I
yeah,
don't know, I really
I
did
think
not like Tenet.
I think it was a very self-indulgent movie. It was probably the most self-indulgent Christopher Nolan movie, and I love Christopher Nolan's films, but that one kinda just hindered on my patience just a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
I
I
think a
definitely
lot
agree
of
with you.
directors, they become you can have a couple hits, and then no one says no to you.
Yeah,
So, once you're surrounded by yes men,
yeah,
that's kinda when the movie might flop because they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's such a great idea. We have to make it. He's a genius." And then the movie comes out and you're
yeah,
like, "Who said yes to this?" But they're surrounded by yes men after successes, which is granted. That's fine. It's great. They have gold movies under their belt, but then they
yeah,
are never said no to. So it becomes a
yeah,
problem when they kinda lose that, I don't know, everyman kinda mentality where, like,
yeah, yeah,
their
uh,
audience is they don't know their audience. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And I
That
think
that
that they
that I feel like Christopher Nolan and his movies would definitely require another of our episodes to really dive in and really dissect some of
yeah,
his more popular films and some of his more
absolutely.
divisive films. Most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to close out our first episode, we're gonna go over each of our top five movies, which, like Vigo told John Wick, it made him an impossible task. And Akash telling us to pick our top five, I was fighting with myself for a
Really.
couple. I was like, how do I pick top five? I went through one way, my one method, how I picked. I like to hear how you guys picked, but you know, who goes first? I don't know. We want to rock paper scissors on this. This is a tough one. This is a very interesting, top five for all three of us here. So
well, I mean, I think I have my top 5 pretty much set,
let's
so
hear it.
I
Let's
could go for it, right?
go first. Yeah.
So,
Go for it.
as far as my top 5 films go, and this is, by the way, in no particular order, these are movies that I love and I can rewatch over and over again. The first one starting with is Inglourious Basterds. I absolutely love this film. I think it is Tarantino's masterpiece. And just a movie that has so much rewatchability, and the cast is amazing. Number 2, I have Snatch. I think this is, Guy Ritchie's best film to date. Again, another one that's filled with so much interesting characters and just it's so fun. Number 3, I'm gonna go with In Bruges with, Colin Farrell. I think it's such a quirky little dark comedy, that just has some really fantastic performances all around, especially, this one scene with Ralph Fiennes where he calls his wife an inanimate object. So good. Um, have you seen it? It's hilarious.
It's a
Yeah, the
great
movie's
Uh,
movie.
great. That movie's good.
number 4, I'm actually going a little far back here. It's a old French movie called Les Diabolical. It came out in '55, and basically the movie is about, like, um, a woman and finds out that her husband has a mistress, and both of them plots to murder the husband together, but the body ends up
Mhm.
going missing, and it's such a fantastic film. And rounding out my number 5, this one is so back and forth with me, it's like, one week it'll be one or the other, so it's it's either The Lighthouse or The Northman, depending on how I'm feeling
Wow.
that week. Yeah. But
Top
that's
5?
that's my top 5. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mhm. What
Where
about
did
you
you watch
guys?
the Diabolical one?
I I had the DVD a couple years ago.
Or the DVD?
Yeah, but if you guys ever get a chance, it's a really great film.
Yeah, that sounds
Definitely
really
check
cool. I
that out.
haven't seen that one, but that one
Yeah.
sounds really good.
Okay, Gabby, let's hear it.
All right. So I realized I'm very franchisey, and all my picks were based on crushes that I've had in the past. So these are movies again that if it's on TV, I don't have cable anymore, but like if it was on TV, I'd sit there and watch it. Like I'd either sit there and watch it or like sit and watch like a major part of the movie and forget what I was doing. So my number one is Titanic.
That's a great movie.
Again,
Fantastic.
super franchise, very franchisey. So get ready. So number one's Titanic, obviously for Leo, like crush related, 100%. But it's what's his name, James Cameron. I
Mhm.
feel like I could have done 5 James Cameron movies. I love him. Um, he's crazy now, but those I feel like his older movies are great. So Titanic for Leo, Kate Winslet. It's action, it's drama, it's love story, it's everything. That's my number one movie. Uh, number two is Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Another crush related, Harrison Ford was my first crush ever. So I was like 8 years old, and I'm like, who is this man? Raiders of the Lost Ark. um, it's more about the like mystical part of it, where like it is based in reality, but like there's other stuff going, like the different messages, and then Indiana Jones is just like ultimate beefcake. So that's number two. Number three is Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. Another movie I watched a million times. I do love the Star Wars franchise. Not anything recently that they've done, but obviously 4, 5, and 6, even 1, 2, and 3, I'll watch. But Return of the Jedi specifically because a lot of the shots in that movie with the Ewoks, everything they did was like something new to me. So that's number three. Four is Lord of the Rings. And Carlos, you're talking about
Wow.
fighting with yourself. I could not pick which one. One, two,
Wow.
and three. I was going through which one I think is the best. It I really was like tearing myself apart. Three, so I originally had Return of the King, but then I thought about Two Towers, and then I'm like, no, the original, like when you introduce everyone, Fellowship is still good. I feel like
Yeah.
people say it's boring, but the intro of everyone is still a great movie. It's so
Yeah.
entertaining. So I originally wrote Return of the King. It's the most action, so it is great. I do think there are problems with Return of the King, but it's still a great movie. So it's Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna just say that all three are my top. And then five, I have to go with Mean Girls. I love
Oh,
everything Tina
Yeah.
Fey.
What?
So I think Tina Fey can do no wrong. Um, I did not like the musical one, but the original Mean Girls I thought was a great movie. Um, another movie that I could watch for forever. I can quote the whole movie, I feel like. Those are my top 5. I feel like it's not as I mean, Mean Girls is not it's not epic, but it's something that got, like, the high school experience really well. It got it done or it did it well, and, like, all the clicks and all that stuff. I saw it also in high school, so it's, like, very at a major age or an what's the word? Informative age for me. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming of age movie?
coming of age, yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Those are my top 5.
Great list. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yep.
Well, folks, that's our end of our show. I'm
Yeah, don't cop out like that.
I know,
I
no, it was really
I
hard. I was
yeah,
trying to go, like, more artistic, but then I was like, "No, these are movies that I personally love to watch." So
yeah.
Right, right, as it should be.
This to me, I had a criteria. It was impact to me.
mhm,
It was the amount of times I've watched these movies, and I can go probably hundreds of. It was one of these movies I had always in my DVD player. I've had them on VHS. I've worn out the tape. Tape broke. How many times I have it on digital. Top 5 for me. Hard. I have an honorable mention because it was very hard. I'll give you guys an honorable mention because it was a very tough list. And again, in no particular order. First movie, Reservoir Dogs. I think it's what introduced the world to Quentin Tarantino, and it was a powerhouse of an independent movie. It is kind of like the blueprint for independent movies. Really, when it broke away from mainstream. Great cast, great story. My second, it's interesting you said Snatch, Akash, because my second is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which introduced Guy
Yep,
Ritchie to the
yep,
world. And again, another movie that I can quote, just loved, introduced Jason Statham to us. It was just a fantastic story. And both of these movies, great soundtracks, which
yep.
drove even, these are movies that the soundtracks were so amazing that I still listen to the music to this day. It's in my playlist. It's what I listen to on my way to work. Third, probably Arnold's best movie. A lot of people say Terminator 2. I'm gonna say Total Recall. Yeah,
mm,
Interesting.
Paul Verhoeven's directorial. It was Rob Bottin special effects. All the special effects were practical. The only thing that was digital was when they're walking through the X-ray. That movie. Forget about it. That movie is just prime sci-fi goodness. Fourth is I'm a huge fan of kung fu movies. It was what I grew up watching on Saturday and Sundays after cartoons were over, and it's to me one of John Carpenter's best movies, and that's Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
It's Kurt Russell. You had a crush on Harrison Ford. I had a crush on Kurt Russell. I think he's probably one of my top 5 favorite actors. But Big Trouble in Little China, holy moly, that's a movie I can watch over. I can watch it anytime. Anytime. I mean, any of these movies I can watch anytime. Number 5, probably my favorite horror movie of all time, bar none, and it's Return of the Living Dead.
Mm,
That movie,
yes,
I think I watched that movie, no lie, 30 times in October. It's the epitome of the zombie movie. It's why zombies say brains. It's perfect. It was actually written by Dan O'Bannon, who wrote Alien.
really,
oh,
And
cool.
nice,
it was Dan O'Bannon's first director movie that he did.
nice.
And
Yeah,
just like I said, fantastic. Those are my top 5, and my honorable mention, because this was very hard to pick, is The Crow. The Crow is it had to be. I have to mention it because that's another movie that just impacted me as a kid. It. I mean, I don't dress goth, but I have a little goth to me. So, and that movie brought that out in me. So, uh, what are your guys' honorable mentions? Love to hear them.
Oh man, this is kind of a curveball here because I didn't expect this one, but honorable mentions. I'm gonna let Gabby go first. Actually, no,
Oh,
no, I do actually know what mine
there
is.
you go.
I'm sorry, Gabby. It just like popped into mind. But honorable mentions. This is a movie that I watch every year on Christmas. I think it's an amazing film, and it's just right under there on my top 5, and that's Love Actually.
Wow.
I I love that movie so much. I think it has a fantastic cast, and
Gosh,
it's just an
baby
amazing
angel.
Christmas movie.
Um, you know what? I actually switched out Back to the Future
Wow.
for
Yeah.
Mean Girls because Back to the Future, I've seen a million times. But I recently saw the Broadway musical that they made, and it made me realize how weird Back to the Future is and kinda, like, gross. So, like, he goes back to time and his mom, like, has a hots for him, that's gross. So, like, I don't know why it made like, I had to go to a musical to realize how gross that movie is.
Mm.
Um, so I'm gonna stay away from Back to the Future, but I did switch it out. So my honorable mention, let's see, I don't know. There's so many. Something I've seen a million times. I feel like yours are so artistic. Mine would be, like, Anchorman.
Oh, Anchorman's great though.
I'm gonna say
Anchorman is
Anchorman.
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
another movie that I saw a million times, another movie I could quote. I feel like it definitely didn't start, but I feel like in the early 2000s, it was those movies that, like that kinda comedy and that kind of, like the movie had to be quotable
Right.
and, like, you're still quoting it. Like, it's a movie that you still quote, or at least I do. So, I'm gonna say Anchorman.
That's a
Yeah,
good one.
I I have to agree with you. I think Anchorman's probably one of the most quotable movies ever made. Um,
Definitely.
you know, but yeah, that's it. You guys have awesome lists. I like it.
Yeah, you guys have great lists.
Yeah.
Fantastic choices.
And
All
I
right,
also
so
like that, like, it shows you a lot about, yeah, your taste, I think your
yeah,
Yeah,
character. I feel
definitely.
like everything you said made sense of, like, your top 5.
yeah. Well, I
Oh, love it.
think that should close us out on today.
Mhm.
Um, we would love to know what you guys' top fives are. Tell us a little about yourself in the comment section and let us know what you guys like. What's your favorite movies? What's your top five? Whatever the case may be, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Mm. Yeah. Do you want to hear more of our top fives? Top five comedies, top five dramas? Let us know.
Yeah, let
Yeah,
us know what recommendations you have, either top 5 movies, different genres, or anything else you'd like us to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, here's one. I saw Heretic.
Oh, that's on
Maybe
my
we
oh,
can
list.
talk about that next
on my
time.
list as well.
I hope I will watch that soon. Yeah. Uh, have you watched The Penguin yet, Gabby?
Me? No.
Yeah.
I
It's
should watch
that's
it.
You should
Yeah,
definitely watch it. It's a must
amazing.
watch.
Must
Must
watch her.
watch. Yeah, yeah, definitely watch it.
So Terrifier and Penguin. Sure,
No,
I'll
no,
watch it.
you can leave Terrifier. You can put that in the bottom of your list, but definitely watch The Penguin.
I'm gonna watch Terrifier right now.
I
Okay. Oof.
actually I have a recommendation that trumps all of that. Have you seen Under Paris?
Ah.
Is that shark movie that was
Mo-
Yes,
really, really good?
Molly Mall, hit him with the soundboard, Molly Mall.
I heard that shark movie was amazing.
What?
So
amazing film. I think as a film critique and a cinephile, it should be experienced in
Oh
the
boy.
highest form.
Oh boy. That's
all
a
right,
off the that's a off the rails for me, but
I got some watching to do.
yeah.
Some really weird Terrifier. Under
Yeah.
Paris. What was the third thing? Oh, the Penguin.
Penguin.
Yeah,
So
Very
you've
strange.
gotta
Strange view.
yeah. So what do everybody say? Don't forget to click like, subscribe, right? All that good stuff. Follow us. If
and
you
we'll
enjoyed this, we'll bring you some more content. You know,
and we'd love to see you guys on the next one.
yeah. So, any last thoughts, Gabby, Akash?
Uh, no,
Just
No.
hope you enjoyed
I'm
it.
all good.
Keep
Yep,
watching. And, yeah,
Yeah. So that
stay tuned for
is
more content.
yes. So that's our first episode. We hope you enjoy the ride with us. Be sure to tune in next time when we tackle Christopher Nolan movies. And hopefully Gabby has seen the Penguin. We can definitely talk the Penguin. Give you guys enough time to watch it, and because we might talk spoilers. We'll
Yeah.
see. And stay tuned for some more surprising topics from the cinema subway. So thank you for tuning in. Have a great night, guys. Take care.
Have a great day, guys. Take care.
Bye.